Hello! Welcome to the second week of the Militia Madness gameplay series. Today I'll be talking to you a little bit about Arabella, who is a commander from Duskmourn, beloved commander from Duskmourn. 2 mana, 1/3. Whenever it attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So, part of building this deck was building it in a way where I could play bad cards. You'll see that in a second, but just in general, I have a package of good cards. Like these Inspectors, these are going to be pretty staple in most white decks. They're the same card. Look at my art. They both come into play and investigate, and they're 1/2s. This is a soldier, this is a detective. These are the same card. Well, they're an Epicure. This is kind of like a red version of an Inspector. It comes into play, it pings your opponent, and then you make a blood token. Reckless Lackey is just an aggressive 1-drop that does stuff. You can pay 3, sacrifice a draw card, make a treasure. I'm going to skip to that in a second. Rafine's Informant, again, 2 mana way of drawing cards. It comes into play in Connives. Scrapwork Mutt comes into play. You may discard a card, draw a card. This card. So this is Militia Bugler. We may or may not see a tenuous relationship as this format opens up with my Militia Buglers, but he's in theory good, so we're playing him. And the reason why we're playing, I would call this like our value package of just cards that search through other cards, find other cards, is because at the center of it all, I wanted to play a Core Skyfisher package type of cards. Core Skyfisher is kind of one of the better cards in the better white cards in our format, weirdly enough. And it's okay in this deck of just being able to like bounce a token maker, play it again. But I wanted other stuff that did other things. You know, whether to like dig for land drops or stuff like that. You can also just play it like an aggro draw and bounce a land. We're trying to kill people very quickly, so that's fine. And then the last card to finish out this like value engine is one of Molten Gatekeeper. There is another copy of this you could play. You could play like Impact Tremors and Witty Roastmaster, but this has Unearth. So, excuse me. So it has just better burst later in the game. It's just better enough from Witty Roastmaster. It's also an artifact, which can be relevant in some situations. Not this situation, but if you want to be on like Galvanic Blast and things like that, there's a reason to have an artifact. The next package of cards we have is just, you know, probably don't got a lot to say about good old red removal spells and the best white removal spell in the format, so these are my removal spells. I'm not playing a lot because I'm an aggro deck, so I don't want to like kill everything. This Galvanic Discharge is not necessary. You could play Fire Blast, you could play Burst Lightning, you could play anything over it. It's just that I owned a Galvanic Discharge, so I have a Galvanic Discharge. Moving on. We have our Land Cyclers. We're a 2-color deck, so we have 2 of them. This one's relevant because it gives like a Anthem effect later on in the game, which sometimes happens. You don't often get to 6 mana, but sometimes you do. We have these cards, which are all effectively the same. They make tokens. This makes a detective, and is terrible. This is a 2/1 that makes a spirit. That's pretty cool. We have lots of ways of making goblins. There was actually an earlier draft of my deck that had Goblin Grenade in it because of just like Mogg War Marshal and Goblin Instigator, and you'll see some more Goblin stuff in the package. But I want to take a moment to especially appreciate this Attend Knight specifically. The first deck I ever played, was a white-black aggro deck that my friend made out of stuff in a box. And it had 4 Attend Knights in the deck. And I thought this card was the most busted card in Magic. I was very new and didn't understand that First Strike is a good mechanic, but it's not the best. I'm like, how do you ever kill this thing? It's you bolt it. You know, there are ways of killing it, but these are our token makers. They're also all very good with Core Skyfisher as well, because you can like play Goblin Instigator, bounce back Core Skyfisher, and then you'd like get 3 for 1 under that card and stuff like that. Stance Up Outcast also has an ability where you can put a counter on him. I don't think I've ever done that, but it is relevant. But yeah, these are cards. We're also on just instants and sorceries that make guys. We have 2 dragon fodders. Joke. Conqueror's Command, dragon fodder. These are, much like the inspectors, these are the same card. They just make 2 goblins. Whatever. So we have them at 2 mana. Again, Raleigh at Hornburg. This card's really good. It makes 2 1/1 hasters, effectively, which is nice. Run 2 of the 3 mana ones. These make lifelinkers, which can be relevant against some like aggro decks. Run a Hordling Outburst. I love this card. Morgan also likes this card. This is like when I first started playing Magic, like getting into like actually wanting to be good, was Khans of Tarkir block. I remember Jeskai tokens in Standard with this card. I remember playing it and like seeing it on the Pro Tour and being like, this card's insane! And it's like, oh, how the mighty have fallen.
And it was classically paired with Stoke the Flames at that time.
Yeah, you'd like play this and then like have a mana up and you get to like stoke them and stuff. And nice. Back when Siege Rhino was the best creature in Standard. Sad face. And then we're on a Battle Screech. This card's very hard to cast, but very easy to flash back. But it's just so... If I didn't play this, I'm leaving so much value on the table for not playing this. Like, it's just really, really good. So one of the ways that you can see is, like, our game plan is, like, play Arabella, make a bunch of tokens, do this, and then they go burr, and then they explode, and then you win. The other way of doing it is antheming your token. So we have a Steadfast Unicorn. No one knows what this card does. I'll read it. 1 mana, 1/2. You can pay 3 and a white. Creature you control, get +1/+1 and Vigilance until the turn. Activate it only on your turn. This card, people sleep on. This card's really good in token decks. Goblin Bushwhacker, a little more well known. Red, kicker for a red. Everything gets +1/+0 in haste if you kicked it. Otherwise, it's a 1 mana 1/1, which is terrible. New Final Fantasy card, kind of new. That's the filming of this video. Summon Cho'Gath. This is a Goblin Bushwhacker 4 turns in a row. This card's very good, and you can do it even more times. In testing, I've had moments where I've like gotten to the 3rd chapter, attacked, played a Core Skyfisher, put it back in my hand, and then next turn did this. It's very good. Yeah, it's just a 3 mana 3/3 that gives other creatures you control +1/+0 until end of turn 4 times. It's very angry. And then we have Rally the Peasants and Non-Crescendo. These are effectively very similar. This can anthem twice, which is really, really good. And this you can kind of use as a way to protect your board a little bit. Both of them gives creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. That text is the same. What this adds is flashback. So now we're done talking about that. It's going to go over there. What this adds is whenever a non-token you control dies this turn, you make a 1/1 rat. So if you have a big board of stuff and they're about to like, you know, deal 2 damage to everything or whatever, you do this, and then you have a rat, and then you have a bunch of rats, and then now they have to wrath again. It didn't work. All right, so I'm going to explain these cards one by one because I'm sure a lot of people don't know what they do. Conduit Goblin, if you've played MH3 Limited, you might have an idea of what it does. Red and a white, you get 2 energy. At the beginning of combat, you pay an energy. Something gets +1/+0 in haste. This just sacrifices to give something haste. This taps to give something haste. And this card, Jawbone Skullkin. You ever heard of a Jawbone Skullkin? This card pays 2 mana to give target red creature haste. Yeah, I'm aware. I wanted my haste enablers to be less than 2 mana and also stick on the board. Because there's a channel card you can play that pays a red and discards it to give something haste. But when you get blown out after you've discarded a card to give something haste, you feel real dumb. So all of these exist just to give the sole purpose of giving Arabella haste. That's all these cards do. And I wanted a 4 of, so I'm playing 4 of them. This does other things. You know, you can get Core Skyfisher haste. You can also pick it back up with Core Skyfisher. These are terrible, but you know, they just give reasons to give Arabella haste because I want Arabella to be a little bit resilient about sorcery speed removal. I don't want literally every... Because once Arabella comes into play, your opponent goes into like this almost comatose state of like, I need to kill Arabella. I need to kill Arabella. Or they just die. And then often they do. So this gives them 1 less turn to do it. I believe 8 mountains and 6 plains. These are basics. They cast your spells. Moving on. We're on the 2 non-basic tap lands. It hurts to play these, but there are just some situations where you just have to bite the bullet and do it. Battle Screech and Hordling Outburst in particular are very hard to cast spells. We're only in a 2-color deck, but because Oliphant and Eagle are both in our deck, we have to bite the bullet. We have to play these. I'm playing an Ash Barrens for mostly that same reason. Is just double red into double white can be tough, so we just need another thing. And then I'm playing a bad card, which is Dwarven Mine. I'm playing this because it's funny, and also Oliphant can go find it, and it just puts a dwarf into play, and you're way more heavy red mana focused than you are white mana focused. That's why no Idyllic Range. Also, Idyllic Range is bad, so we're not on it. But this could really be another mountain if you wanted it to be. If they printed a third dual land that I could go find with my Oliphant or Eagles of the North, it would be that. But that card doesn't exist. So, yeah. Sideboard, we have the boys. Talked about it in Cormella.
Yeah.
I'm in red.
It's blasts.
Cool. Another cards that you might get tired of me here and talk about are these Flag Bearers. These Flag Bearers they're meant to like win the Boggles matchup, and they do. They're also really good against, sneakily good against Basket Broodscale and Pilipala and those types of things because they can't enchant the Broodscale with this in play. They also are life gain spells against red decks because they can't Lightning Bolt you with these in play. This can gain you 3 life. This can gain you like 6. But they have the benefit of being really good against other stuff. I wouldn't play them if they were just life gain. There are better options to play if they're just life gain. Erishan Cleric and like Lone Missionary and things. I'm on the Monarch package in the sideboard. There's an argument that these should be in the main deck because I make lots and lots of tokens, so how are you ever going to attack me? But I just am so terrified of being caught on the matchup where somebody goes, I play a flyer. And then now I've provided them a huge advantage, and I don't really want to play these Monarch Wars game 1 where I'm not equipped to kill creatures or do things like that. I'd much rather bring them in and some other removal spells so that I can better fight the Monarch Wars. Removal spells! Yay! That's what these are. They're just versatile kill spells to kill things. Yay! I bring these in with the Monarch a lot, especially against those mid-range decks, so I can like play with them a little bit more.
And then there's a specific reason why you have Fang Flames.
Oh, yeah. Guard of the Guild Pact is also another card that I want to have an answer to. Guard of the Guild Pact, 4 mana, 2/3, protection from monocolored. This is literally the only way I have to answer this. It also, like, exiling stuff is not irrelevant if you're killing bigger things. This is also 4 damage, as opposed to most of your damage being able to hit 3, so this is labels hit numbers. But, yeah, that's a good point. This also hits that card. Revoke Existence is the artifact removal I'm choosing to play. It's very interchangeable. You're in white. You get access to so many of them. And like what I've realized playing this format more is you don't need artifact removal. This is not like Affinity where they're slamming cranial plating or things like that. Well, that's banned in both of our formats anyways. But you don't like need it. Like the artifact decks that exist in our formats are value-based. Like, and you're doing this to like an Ichor Wellspring, like cool story, bro, but you want to bring it against like the Affinity decks. Like if you're killing a Mirror Enforcer with this thing, you feel okay, or stuff like that. And if Affinity using Tectonic Hazard, this deck is awkward. In some ways, I want Breath Weapon and Fiery Cannonade, but the problem is, if you go Breath Weapon to an Elves board, you're both putting your creatures in your graveyard. These hit just my opponents. So they're still good against Elves and tokens and things like that, but you lose a lot of versatility about... Like, the difference between dealing 1 damage to everything and dealing 2 damage to everything matters. Timberwatch Elf is a 1/2. We really want to be able to get that off the table so they can't kill us. But these are good enough answers without blowing us out. We just can't play Fiery Cannonade or Breath Weapon. It's just not a thing that we can do. We have a Relic of Progenitus. We kind of already have a little bit of graveyard hate with the Thraben Charm, but I wanted a little bit more that like drew a card against decks. So this is another way of doing that. Patrician Scorn, this says destroy all enchantments. We bring this in against Boggles. We have no playable enchantments in our deck. Well, we have Journey to Nowhere, but like this is just our I win button against Boggles or artifacts or stuff like that. And then the last card is the Prismatic Strands. This card is very, very good. Effectively gives you protection from a color until end of turn. It's really, really good against what people bring in, like the Tectonic Hazards, the Breath Weapons, all this kind of stuff. You're just like, no. It's also really, really good against like aggro mirrors sometimes because you have a great plan against aggro decks, which is attack with Arabella, gain a bunch of life, and then protect Arabella with Prismatic Strands and stuff like that. So yeah, Prismatic Strands, very, very good. The only reason I'm not running to the main board is my deck doesn't want to hold up mana at all. Ever. Under any circumstance whatsoever. So being able to like pass my turn with 3 mana up is awkward because I didn't deploy a threat. On my own turn, playing 3 mana means that like what, they're breath weaponing me? Fine. It's just like I don't care enough. So but you do want access to this against, again, there are a lot of monocolored decks where this is like fog you again. So that's it for Arabellum. Tune in a couple days to see Borgen's Deck Tech, and we'll see you then.